Matthew 24:15, and when you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, which is the vaccine spoken of by Daniel the prophet, that is the vaccine, in the holy place. Though, and this is when you always know to pay attention when these phrases come in, those who readeth, let him understand. That's giving you a timeline right there, 24:19. That's the vaccine. And that's 24. Where am I? 24:15. That's where I was. The vaccine. Yeah. Next one's the rapture, 24:16. then let them which be in Judea flee unto the mountains. Do you remember how it's always the mountains with the first fruits? It's he comes to Jesus, the disciples come to Jesus. It's the mountains of Solomon, because that's up about then the forest of the house in the forest of Lebanon. That is a mountain, and it's clearly defined as that. Let them which be in Judea flee unto the mountains. That's talking about the first rapture, I believe. So 24:19. And woe unto this is I saw this very differently all of a sudden. And woe unto them that are with child and them that give suck in those days. That to me, there's 85% of people that have been vaccinated. There's babies coming out with black eyes. The assumption is that they have demons in them. They're standing up after like 5 minutes being born. There's plenty of videos of that online. Funnily enough, I've got any on my Bitchute channel, which I should have. I'm coming to think of it. Woe unto them that with child and unto them that give suck in those days, because the chances are that in those days after the abomination of desolation in Matthew 24:15, your babies are not going to be your babies. You're in trouble if you've got one of these demon babies that are with double vaccinated parents, or just one. That's what I believe it's talking about. Woe unto them that are with child and them that give suck in those days. In those days where the vaccine's in full swing, right? I can't see it any other way now. So that's Matthew 24:19. We've not got much to go. The second rapture, 24:20. But pray ye that your flight not be in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Here's the thing about that, right? First fruits, I believe, has to be in spring, because it's before know that summer is nigh. Know that summer is nigh. It has to be in spring for the first fruits. I happen to believe it will be in first fruits, which is. I also made a mistake in the other video. I said the first fruits is on the 19th on the New Creator's calendar. That's Passover. The 19th of May is Passover, which is in 7 days. The first fruits is on the 21st of May. The 21st of May. That's when I have the date set. And if it's not this first fruits, I think it'll be next year's first fruits. I won't really be looking at anything else in between. But pray your flight not be in winter, because if it's in winter, it's in tabernacle. What this means is, if it's correct, and I'm going to show this on scripture, why it's tabernacles 2025. Maybe not the 2025 part, but I'm going to show you why it's in tabernacles in another video. And that's what it means. It means because the first fruits is in spring, the second rapture is in winter, but pray that your flight not be in winter. Because that's the second rapture. Your rapture is what it means. Neither that or on the Sabbath day, because it could well be on on the 8th day of Tabernacles, which is a high Sabbath. Okay, so that was 2020, 24:20. 24:21 is also second rapture and a great trib. For then shall be great tribulation. That's what it's telling you. That's what I'm saying. The second tribulation, rapture, the second rapture, if Great Trib starts in 2025, March, April, because it has to finish on the Feast of Trumpets, the last 3.5 years, so it has to start at the March, April part of the year, on the first, like we've just had, on the 6th of May, the first day of the year. But this was the 13th month in this year, so, I'd need to work it out, which you can easily. If it would be March, April, May, well, more likely April, May. So, it's saying, pray not be in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day, which is referring to the rapture, as I said, on Tabernacles. But then it says, for then shall be great tribulation, so it's telling you when it's going to be. And I think it will be just into tribulation, 6 months in. Such as was not since the beginning of the world to to this time, nor ever shall be, which is why it just said, pray that your flight not be in winter, because it'll be in the tribulation. Okay, so that was 24-21, and where am I next? 2022 is the first rapture again. And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. The other thing that I've started to look at this, and this is just my thinking, not anything given to me, is I'm noticing what everybody else is noticing, that the days, the weeks, the months are going so fast. Now what's really particular is my children think that. Now when we were all children, we never thought that, did we? The days and summers were long, and it's relative to how long you've been alive, but that's not so now. Everything's short. Everything's been shortened. I think that might be the days being shortened because it has to still live up to prophecy. But I think what's happening is we don't know, but it's speeding up.
Yeah.
A day speeding up, a week speeding up, a month speeding up. A year to year just go like that, even to my young children, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, where am I? Nearly done. So that was is that? Okay, yeah. So Matthew 20:23, not that one. We're going now to Matthew 24:29. Immediately after the tribulation, this is the elect's return, right? Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven. That's another one about the stars falling from heaven, people. And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. That's immediately after the tribulation. That's talking about the first 3.5 years. It didn't say the Great Tribulation, did it? It just said that before. It said the Great Trib before in the verse we read out before. Right? So it's immediately just discerning the two from each other. Immediately after the tribulation, i.e. the first 3.5 years, immediately you start into the next 3.5 years. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. So what have we learned? We've learned that as soon as the Great Tribulation, there's a sign in the heavens that's clear as day. If you pardon the pun, it's actually the opposite. Where the sun does not give her light and the stars, then the elect come back and fall from heaven. And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Well, of course, because they're going to scroll the dome back by the sounds of it. It's going to be so exciting. And the elect are going to come back. And the elect are going to be telling everybody they know and more that they've been witnesses to heaven, and this is what they have to do. And the other thing I forgot to say is, one of I said in the last video, you know, everyone's going to say it's me, everyone's going to listen to me, but it's more important that I have to tell them once they believe what to do, because there's other verses that say, you know, they have to go and hide, and we have to go and hide them, and, you know, tell them exactly what they have to do to be able to go into heaven. Now, if that was true, if that did happen, imagine how the reigns of the devil over these people would be, like, imagine chains being broken by everyone. Do you know what I mean? That'd be so beautiful, and it would be so genius against the devil's trick. Shall be shaken. So, 2 more verses, I think. What are we on? 29, 3 more verses. 31, 33, and 38. Okay, so 31 says this, and this is, it's funny because it's talking about, and that verse is talking about the stars falling from heaven, which I believe are the elect. And then it's talking about their death. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in the heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Sorry, that's not the verse, it was the next one. And he shall send his angels with a great sound. Well, I think they're all mourning because the elect have been killed. And that's what I think these 3 statements are, the verses are, as a bridge. And then, and he shall then send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, second last trumpet, or is it the last one? And they shall gather together his elect from the 4 winds, and from one end of heaven to the other. I think that's the same word. It could not be the you know, like the Wickstroms and all that, they put down as a local flood. They say like that. It says this, but it's actually the earth, and, you know, it's a local flood. But that to me is them being gathered after death. he's sending down his angels to gather them, or to take either their souls or their bodies before the end, because we're at the end of that stage, right? So they gather together his elect, his witnesses from the four winds and from the end of heaven to the other. I think that's from one end of earth. Let's have a look at the root word. To the other. Perhaps from the same as oros, through the idea of elevation, that's rapture, right? The sky, by extension, heaven, and extension heaven, so it doesn't mean heaven, as the abode of God, by application, happiness, power, eternity, specialty, the gospel, Christianity, air, heaven, sky. And it's from the Greek oros. And it means to rise or rear up, perhaps akin to aero, a mountain, as lifting itself above the plane. Hill, mount. So there we go, right? So there it's and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds and from one end of, that could be many different things, right? It doesn't have to be heaven to the other. Okay, so 24:33. So likewise, when you shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. That's talking about timing, but it's also talking about the very, very end, being, when the witnesses die, that's the end. Most Christians would know that anyway, but it's kind of rubber stamping it at the end, saying, look, this is basically the timeline.